The Navy received the largest bucket of money among the service branches in FY15 with the base budget request of about $148 billion. This is about 5% less than last year's request. But that's mainly because the FY14 request exceeded budgetary caps that were set in place. The Navy is projecting 0 to 2% growth year over year over the next 5 years, and that's a trend incompatible with the expanding role of the Navy, which we'll get to in a second. You can really see how the Navy is looking at technology as a way to achieve their stated goals amid stagnant growth. Now, the money set aside for IT saw a slight dip, but that's more so because while DoD CIO Terry Halverson was the Navy CIO, he was really aggressive about finding cost savings. And the Navy has found these savings through the use of enterprise licensing agreements, infrastructure consolidation, and cloud computing.
Despite budget stagnation, DoD insists a shift to the Pacific is happening. With this defense strategy, the Navy and Marine Corps are enjoying a stronger focus. This reposturing, however, is a tall order, given limited resources and budget uncertainty. So the Navy wants to reconcile getting leaner by getting smarter. One way is by rationalizing its cyber practices and trying to figure out a way to improve its defensive posture and cyber resiliency. One example is the Task Force Cyber Awakening Initiative, which takes an overarching look at the Navy's cybersecurity posture and assesses its vulnerability. Another way they're looking to improve their rate of responsiveness to cyber threats is through new technologies. The Innovation Cell will serve as a platform allowing the Navy to rapidly acquire and introduce new technologies. It's going to be run out of the Navy's PEO for Enterprise Information Systems. You saw how complex that threat environment map was? A time-lapse would show how quickly that changes. Speed to market is key. To that end, the Innovation Cell is set up to get your products to market faster. And the first industry day for this is going to take place in January or February next year. The Navy is also working very hard to modernize and streamline their posture from a network perspective with engine and canes underway. Taking a look at their overall organization, the highlighted offices are key centers of gravity when it comes to requirements, decision-making, money, and programs. Starting from the left, the Don CIO is now Thomas Hicks. In his previous job as Deputy Chief Management Officer, his emphasis was on making sure the business side of the Navy was synchronized and in alignment with the warfighting mission. His focus will be the same as Halverson, although expect his messaging to be less cost-conscious and more centered around the themes of technological efficiency. The 10th Fleet is part of Cybercom, and this is where a lot of cybersecurity requirements are going to come from. And they're mostly located at the Maritime Operations Center in Fort Meade. N2N6 is responsible for resourcing and or developing requirements for a broad number of needs for networks, business intelligence, and cybersecurity. Janice Haith, the deputy, is who you want to talk to there. The bulk of Navy's IT money and programs, though, reside within the systems commands, which you see at the bottom. These organizations are the department's acquisition commands and perform a variety of important functions, some of which we'll discuss shortly, with further information in the planner. But first, let's take a quick glance at some of the largest components within the Navy.
And we'll start with NAVSEA, since it's the largest of the Navy's 5 systems commands, and is headquartered at Washington Navy Yard. NAVSEA has an annual budget of about $30 billion and is responsible for the Navy's ships, submarines, and their combat systems. And they also manage and administer Seaport E, the Navy's largest IT contract vehicle. NAVSEA is also a focal point for foreign military sales in the Navy and currently manages a portfolio worth around $20 billion. And these sales often come with IT requirements in areas of logistics, business intelligence, and data management. NAVSEA is looking to industry for help in figuring out ways to standardize hardware and software components across combat systems in order to reduce costs and take advantage of a shared network environment. SPAWAR delivers IT products to the fleet and other DoD stakeholders. And SPAWAR's main focus is on how to achieve savings to strengthen the programs the Navy cares most about. For instance, through the Fleet Readiness Directorate, SPAWAR works to reduce the Navy's data center and application footprint. But generally speaking, those in the network management, cybersecurity, application, and data management space have a play in SPAWAR, as it is the center of gravity for the Navy in those areas. SPAWAR has a close working relationship with PEO C4I and PEO EIS. Rear Admiral Boris Becker runs PEO C4I and is in charge of an office presiding over systems and programs that provide, no surprise, C4I to Navy assets afloat and ashore. PEO EIS, managed by Vic Gavin, administers a far smaller number of programs, but some of which are quite large, like NGEN. And this office controls a $2 billion annual portfolio and is a program office that focuses on purchasing commercial technologies for Navy networks. Now, given the broad nature of their portfolios, the PEOs in SPAWAR play a major role in the Navy's attempts to reconcile their expanding mission with stagnant resources.
For the Marine Corps, we wanted to highlight a couple of insertion points of their headquarters. First, General Joseph Dunford took over as Commandant recently. We've been told that his guidance on the direction of the Marine Corps will be forthcoming this January. The Deputy Commandant for Installations and Logistics is Lieutenant General William Faulkner, and this office is a microcosm of what's happening in the rest of the department. They're responsible for transitioning the Marine Corps from using multiple standalone and independent logistics IT systems to a shared and interoperable environment. While the focus here is primarily on logistics systems, these efforts are replicated through the various patches within the Department of the Navy in cybersecurity, data centers, and networks. Many of those kinds of consolidation and rationalization projects reside within the CIO office, led by Brigadier General Kevin Nally. His priorities consist of transitioning applications and programs to their core data center in Kansas City, expanding bandwidth, and working on the Marine Corps mobile strategy, which is separate from DISA's. Moving on, the Marine Corps Systems Command. This is the acquisition branch of the Marine Corps for IT systems programs, and they purchase technology using the Seaport E contract vehicle. The Information Systems and Infrastructure Department, or PMISI, is probably the most important point here. They design, buy, and sustain information systems and infrastructure ranging from the marine-owned portion of NGEN to cloud procurement to core data center migration. The CIO for the command is Lieutenant Colonel Jamie Markle. In addition to running the Marine Corps data center operations teams, he works in collaboration with General Nally towards strengthening cybersecurity management and technical controls for the protection of mission essential systems. MACTISA uses its testing environments to ensure the technology is fully integrated and interoperable with other Marine Corps tactical systems. And finally, MAGTF equips and sustains troops with technology and systems that are specific to their expeditionary and crisis response capabilities. This is a good insertion point for finding opportunities and shaping requirements because, again, as the Marine Corps transitions back to its roots, expect greater demand for tools that enhance force protection, situational awareness, communication, and interoperability.
Now, moving on to programs, CAX-2S is a theater battle management system, and it's managed out of the Marine Corps PEO for land systems. And it replaces the 50-year-old air command and control system the Marines are using. Before, voice communications were used to keep track of assets, coordinate close air support, provide air defense, conduct medical air evac, and any of those functions required 3 different systems. Now with CAC-2S, this is done with one system and visually. FY15 will see Phase 2 kicking off with development of an open architecture interface aimed at giving the Marines the kind of flexibility and scalability they're going to need. And the opportunities for you center around visualization solutions, data centers, and application development. Program manager for CAC-2S is Raymond Simpson, and he's led this program since 2008 and is generally considered one of the better program managers in all of DoD for consistently staying within budget and time. This program is run out of PEO Land Systems, which is the Marine Corps' only PEO, and it oversees major weapon systems, including CAX-2S. This is a good example of technology as an enabler, using technology to accomplish this mission, in this case, air and command and control, albeit with fewer resources.
Another prime example of the Navy adjusting to a smaller force size is with NTCSS. This is the only business logistics system serving the fleet in the President's budget. So those of you that sell ERP solutions, take note. NTCSS was established to help Navy personnel effectively manage ship, submarine, and aircraft support activities, such as equipment maintenance, financial management, logistics, and personnel. All of the logistics, DPM, and PLM providers, you're going to want to hunt here because there are many different logistics investments that have been consolidated into NTCSS. Activities in FY15 will focus on transitioning from client-server to web-based open architecture, as the Navy is hoping to compensate for reduced manning by moving workload to the Navy's data centers. Additionally, part of FY15 activities will go toward ensuring NTCSS installments are compatible with the Navy's new afloat network, CANES, and improving their ability to operate in remote environments. Don Harder has led management of NTCSS for a few years now, and his office within PEO C4I also oversees the Navy's version of the GEEKS program that Lloyd talked about earlier.
Now moving on to MIDS, which is run out of NAVAIR, thinks of this program as consisting of a network of radio terminals, except that they're equipped to work with aircraft. And it provides interoperability with our allies, making friend-on-friend engagements less likely, while increasing in the effectiveness of air combat operations. You'll want to hunt here if you have relevant technologies in the areas of network and system management, encryption, and configuration management. Now, investments in FY15 are focusing on replacing or updating hardware, software, and firmware components within those terminals. And the hardware and software will also go toward developing and incorporating a tactical network that will give MIDS-equipped aircraft the ability to talk to up to 200 platforms at the same time. And so, FY15 will see modernization-oriented investments as program managers seek to improve network capacity to run state-of-the-art mission applications. Several contracts have been awarded in support of the MIDS program, with DLS and Viasat as primes on a number of these contracts.